the leading social enterprise business show in RVA. Join Mike King, the partnership guru, daily at 1 p.m. on WJFN 100.5 FM, 92.7 FM, and 820 a.m. as he delivers game changers in Metro RVA. On the Mic with Mike showcases how business can help make society better. He discusses tech, culture, innovation, best business practices, and highlighting area nonprofits. Join Mike at 1 p.m. Monday through Friday, because it is the place where the best and brightest come to chat.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to On the Mic with Mike. It is a special day here with us. It's election day, so for all those who've been out there and done their thing, thank you and kudos to you. Other folks who are going their way out, make sure you get there. And the folks who are choosing not to do anything, don't say anything. That's the bottom line to it. So, just like to welcome to the program. The views expressed, I'm your host, Mike King. Let me get back to it. I'm your host, Mike King, and I appreciate you being here with me. The views expressed here are mine, have no connection to, support of, agreement with any other host, information, or ads on the station. I don't work for the station. I just appreciate my show airing here on a daily basis so we can bring it to you. So join me as this cutting-edge show uplifts the community and showcases RVA in a different way. The sounds you're listening to are emanating from the Mike King Biz Studio, which is the global epicenter of social enterprise business. Joining us today is not Al Green, it's Kiera. She is holding the fort down while Al is out. He is producing a big election day show later on, so Kiera's here holding it down, and we are in capable hands because she's the one who you always hear delivering the news and the weather. So, on the Mic with Mike, we highlight partnerships, people, social enterprise business organizations, as well as issues of the day. To get more information, you can go to our website, our Facebook page. It's On the Mic with Mike RVA. We'd like to thank our show sponsor, Tom Childry, the credit card guy. If you have credit card merchant service issues or you'd like to streamline processes or save money, Tom Childry is the guy who can help you, 804-503-8472. He does a lot of work with nonprofits as well. I'd like to thank him for doing that. Along the way, we have to pay bills, so make sure you take a listen to our sponsors and advertisers. They have great products and services, and they help us stay on the air. Today, folks, it's a historic day. It's also a day that we have some great guests. Well, yeah, we have great guests as usual, but today is a special one. Today, we got the Blanco boys in the building.
Yeah.
That's that's their superhero monikers. See, normally, they're Jordan and Vincent, but today and the way they operate. That's who they are. They're going to be here talking about a little everything. They got some music for us. We're going to be here talking about that later on. We have election day coverage, unlike anywhere else. I don't know what we're going to get today. Election day coverage. We're going to have Matthew Redmond, who is a proud MAGA supporter. He's going to be here calling. Yes, sir. That's how we roll here.
All right.
We're also going to have Skylar Washington, who's going to be on the other side of the just trying to put some perspective in it. And we're also going to have Talbot Little, who's going to call in and give us. So we're going to have the election coverage from a millennial perspective. That's coming from me, the oldest millennial in history. So we're also going to have with us at the end Katherine Wintsch, who is the founder and driving force behind Slay Like a Mother. That's a movement that she started. It's gained a lot of popularity. She's an author, motivational speaker, and she'll be in here at 2:30. Without further ado, I bring to you the Misters White. Hello, sirs.
Hey, how you doing?
Okay, so it's a big day here, election day.
Yeah.
I saw you guys out. Talk a little bit about. So, Dad, we've talked before. You're a veteran. You're a friend of the program. You're here a lot. The young Mr. White. How you doing? Welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Okay, so it's election day. You're tell us how old you are.
I'm 14.
You're 14, and you are a musician. You rap and sing. You're an entertainer, and you're committed to the community. Talk a little bit about what that means to you right now. It's a pretty big day, so talk a little bit about that, and you can just shout out to your friends and some folks. That's what we do here.
What school you go to, all that if you want to.
Okay, so I go to Hermitage High School, or virtually.
How's it going to school virtually?
It's going pretty good. I have AB honor roll
Yeah.
so far, so that's really cool. My teachers are really nice.
So, what's the part that you miss with school?
Well, I like to talk to my friends, and a lot of times people don't talk on the virtual school, so I kind of miss that part.
Did you ever think when you were going to school, did you think you'd miss school?
No, I never did.
I don't think anybody thought that they would miss school or work.
Nah.
And now all of a sudden people want to do it because we can't do it.
Mm-hmm.
We can't do it a lot. So you also produce music, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
What kind of music do you produce? What have you written, sang?
See, I've produced 2 songs, but I write a lot on my phone, and I just sometimes don't bring it to the studio.
So
I'm gonna make more songs.
So you write. What's the inspiration? What do you come up with to write a song?
Can you specify?
Do you think about? Do you come up with the concept first, or how do you go about doing it?
Oh, okay. So sometimes I'll go just to any place, and I'll get an idea for a song, or maybe I'll see something on TV, and it'll give me an idea for a concept, and then I just try my best to write on that concept.
Okay, and so you go to your phone. What's the process to make a record? A lot of people don't know. How do you do that?
Okay, so after I get my concept straight, I usually take a really long time to get the first line of any song because I feel like that kind of sets the tone for it. So after I get that, I'll kind of see what's the overall message on this song. So with Why Daddy, I wanted to talk about police brutality, racism, all those type of issues. I just thought about when I was creating the lyrics that I need to stay on that subject because sometimes it's hard when you just, especially when you're writing rap and it's oh yeah, this rhymes with this, or I have a line that I already wrote down on my phone and it rhymes with this, but this isn't the type of song for that.
Okay, so you and your dad are out. You guys have been involved in the protest, involved in what's going on. What's that like when you and Dad are out there on the front lines of the change in Richmond?
Yeah, tell them about that time we went out there.
Yeah, it feels really good, and it's a mixture of both. It feels really good, but also it's kind of scary, when they had those tanks and all those dudes line up, but then I had to, think about, the reason why I was doing it. So, but yeah, it made me feel really good. I was helping make a change.
So, right now, you were on the front lines of history. Yeah, because for years and years and years, people have been out there in those monuments, and there were people who never thought that they would ever come down. And here you are right now. So people are going to say, you're going to remember where you were in 2020. There's not a lot of years that people can remember, on that day and that year. So, Dad, talk a little bit about what it means for you guys to interact when you guys are out there and showing him that he's part of a historic moment.
Yeah, we this when the riots was heavy, with the protests. Let me not say riots. The protests and the uprising was heavy here in Richmond. I want to say it was June or something like that. But we went downtown because I wanted to. He was seeing it all on TV. I wanted him to just see it. I wasn't sure if he wanted to be a part of it because I didn't want to thrust him into that environment because, like he said, it was crazy. It was tanks. It was police posted up. All kind of stuff happening. But when we got down there, to my surprise, he shocked me because he was like, Dad, I want to go over there by the police station and see what's going on. It was a line of policemen sitting there with the riot gear on. He was pointing them out on top of the building. And I'm like, all right, hold up, son. I don't want nothing crazy to happen. We get out there, and it was only one guy in front of them protesting. And Jordan goes without me, goes in the middle of the street and puts his shirt down, gets down on one knee, put his fist up and start protesting. I'm gonna send you the picture, Mike, because the picture went viral locally. It was a amazing picture, and he put his fist up. And so I went out there as his dad, of course, and supported him, stood behind him, put my fist up. And then after a while, your knees start hurting, your arms start hurting. So I held his arm up because he wasn't moving. Jordan was stone faced, he was not moving. I held his arm up. Then he took his shirt off, and I'm like, all right, son, hold up now. He feeling it. So he took his shirt off. put it under his knee, and then these two white girls came on his left and two other girls came on his right. We didn't know them from anybody. They came and said, can we kneel with you? That was the biggest moment for me, because this was like Black Lives Matter, like go hard, black, just blackity black. And then they came over there and stood with us, and they stood there the whole time with us, and we just was yelling, whatever we wanted to yell and say we wanted to say. But Jordan led that, and more people started coming once they seen a young 14-year-old, serious about this movement. And so that was just an amazing moment. Somebody captured the picture, and people started reposting it. Richmond Times-Dispatch, everybody started posting it on IG, and it just showed me how it's affecting our young kids. It showed me that I was so glad to be able to make him a part of that moment.
It's something bigger than, like you said, bigger than that moment. It's something that you go down there because I want them to see becomes part of that, and then you realize it from a historical perspective what that means. So Jordan, how about your friends? How involved are they? What's going on in the street when you guys are talking? What are they saying? Oh, here's another one I got. What are they saying about parents? How we doing adults? How are adults doing with this COVID thing?
How are their parents
Yeah,
doing?
no, how are all adults, period. So we go take your dad out because, you got to stay cool with him. You got to stay cool, I understand. So how is it when young people look at adults these days? How are we doing managing COVID and all of that?
So certain friends of mine, like their parents and stuff, they don't go anywhere. I'm not gonna say any names, but one of my friends, his mom doesn't let him go.
It's kind of like me, it take a lot for me to come out and go back home. It's not easy, I see you guys out. We get out. I got to do a lot for my wife to let me back in the door.
But yeah, but most of my friends, they're allowed to go certain places as of right now, but it's still limited, which is kind of what we do. And my friends are still staying protected and all that type of stuff.
Well, that's good. The program is On the Mic with Mike. We got Vincent and Jordan White here with us. The program is On the Mic with Mike, 119. We're here daily 1 to 3 p.m. WJFN Radio, 100.5, 92.7, 8:20 a.m. Today is going to be a date where we have the Election Day special. We're going to talk about what's going on with the election. We're also going to have Katherine Wintsch with us, who is the driving force behind Slay Like a Mother. And she's going to talk about her work, her book, and all that goes along with that. So the time is 1:19. With that being said, we got to go away for a break. We'll be back shortly.
A free upgrade in any Bono water-based poly for any job that gets put on our schedule. You can reach us at focushardwoodflooring.com or just check us out on Facebook or Instagram. Facebook, Focus Floors 804, Instagram 80 Floors. Thank you.
Hi everyone, it's Pavi Leitner, the CEO and founder of Finlit and your family's certified financial educator, dedicated to the financial success of you and your family. Are you not sure where to start with your finances? Or are you looking to sign your middle schooler up for our virtual camp? Book us at www.finlitva.com. That is www.finlitva.com. Finlit is creating a money-conscious community.
Hi, Chef Michelle here of Ma Michelle's Cafe, home of the Soul Rolls, located at 10811 Hull Street Road. Give us a call at 804-912-1644 or order online at mamichelle's.com. Ask about our off-site catering options as well as our online ordering through Grubhub, Uber Eats, and DoorDash. Follow us on all social media at Ma Michelle's Cafe. That's Ma Michelle's, Soul, south of the James. Mention Mike on the mic and get a free dessert on us. Special rules apply.
Tom Childry, the credit card guy with Beyond. I believe it should not be confusing or expensive for your business to accept credit cards. As a social enterprise business advocate, my mission gets you paid faster with fair rates, helping your business grow. We can be contacted at area code 804-503-8472, 804-503-8472, or at getbeyond.com. Again, I'm Tom Childry, the credit card guy. Quick, easy collect. We make it easier than you expect.
Hi, my name is Daquan Woodbury, also known as Chef PQ. The restaurant industry is going through a hard time right now. With COVID-19, a lot of things are going on. Restaurants are shutting down. They might have to even close their doors for good. In the past few months, we've seen how life can change dramatically in a blink of an eye. Fortunately, I've created a system, a proven system, that allows restaurants to stay successful.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back on the mic with Mike 122 here on Election Day 2020. Here with Vincent, Ellis White, Jordan White here talking about life and everything in between. They also have a song that we're gonna play here in a moment. So Jordan, the name of the song is
Why Daddy?
Okay. Can you guys tell us, our listeners, a little bit about Why Daddy?
You want to do
Okay,
it?
so
Good.
So it's a song that me and my dad created when we saw all of the bad things that were happening on the news, and we were at that time we were consistently going to the studio and that type of stuff. So it was perfect to make the song, and yeah, it came out really great.
Okay, so it's the time.
And before we go, let me shout
there you
the producer out. Yeah, the producer of it is CPR named Steven. He put the song together, put the beat together. We told him, what we was thinking about writing about. He came up with the beat and the sample, and we went in the studio. Jay kind of first or second time in the studio. So to come up with a song like this, a father and son social justice song about police brutality, combating police brutality, and bigging up black positive fatherhood is amazing. I never heard it done before.
But you guys have performed in the past. This isn't something new for you guys.
No. Yeah, we performed in the past. Yeah, but this song that we have here
is for the moment.
Yeah.
All right,
that's this moment.
Ladies and gentlemen, the name of the song is
Why Daddy.
Why Daddy. Here you go.
It's time now to clear the air and to compound the tragedy occurring on Martin. It feels as though some people are now trying to do to him in death what George Zimmerman apparently did to him in life, attributing to this young man a character and a personality that they could not possibly know. And yet they persist in imposing upon the slight moral frame an identity that implies criminality, juvenile delinquency, and ground characteristics of trouble.
Why daddy people of color get the lesser? Why daddy girls at the polls get to stress us? Why daddy didn't say I have to do better, be better, show better, it's no let up. Why daddy people of color get the lesser? Why daddy girls at the polls get to stress us? Why daddy didn't say I have to do better, be better, show better, it's no let up. Why daddy the police gotta profile us? Why is the first thought always violence? It's as if black lives don't matter.
They got us.
Now it's so much stacked against us. We get in trouble and get left defenseless. At times the news leaves me restless. I still believe the Lord blessed us, but it's like we got no help, just us. I'm tired of asking where's the justice. So tired of asking where's the justice. Why are they shocked when they see us? You been by my side the whole time, so what? Since a baby, you showed me how to grow up.
Yeah.
Man, cause they can't stop the blow up. All this evil got me ready to throw up. Then we gotta make a change, what's the hold up?
Why daddy?
People of color get the lesser? Why daddy girls at the polls get to stress us? Why daddy do they say I have to do better, be better, show better, it's no let up? Why daddy people of color get the lesser? Why daddy girls at the polls get to stress us? Why daddy do they say I have to do better, be better, show better, it's no let up?
Nah, black lives don't seem to matter. Some teachers profile us. Out here wildin', but when it goes down, everybody's silent. Starbucks managers call it 12 to get violent, just to make the situation scarier. But in reality, they really just scared of us. Media out here changing narratives. Getting all A's is imperative. They spreading lies like you don't know your dad. but I'm right here, been here since the beginning. It's my goal to make sure you stay winning, so I cultivate your talent, showcase your black excellence. Let the people know your life is beyond relevant, it's needed. And no, I don't want you conceited. I want you confident enough to overcome and beat it.
Why, daddy, people of color get the lesser? Why, daddy, girls that oppose get to stress us? Why, daddy, you just say I have to do better, be better, show better, it's no let up. Why, daddy, people of color get the lesser?
Why, daddy,
girls that oppose get to stress us?
Why, daddy,
you just say I have to do better, be better, show better, it's no let up. Why, daddy, people of color get the lesser? Why, daddy, girls that oppose get to stress us? Why, daddy, you just say I have to
do better, be better, show better, it's no let up.
Why, daddy, people of color.
Ladies and gentlemen, Vincent, Ellis White, Jordan White with Why Daddy. Okay, a great song. I mean, it's powerful. With this is a business show here. Talk a little bit about how you make that work and what that does from the business standpoint.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. So what we do is we created that song organically. Didn't know that it was going to be these times that we're in now. We created it before that, but it's so relevant for right now that I started pushing it in the beginning. Jay had just come off of being viral for doing another moment with the VCU Be the Movement twins that went viral, like 500,000 views, and so people started asking for songs. So I called my man CPR, went in the studio, created Why Daddy, and started pushing Why Daddy with the Blanco Boys brand, with the Vincent Ellis White brand, with the Fatherhood brand, and everywhere we went, Blackwell Community Center, some churches, people saying, can y'all perform that song? So it just goes along with building the brand, performing the song, creating a positive awareness, positive blackness, because right now, like, people need to see positive blackness out here. People need to see father and son doing positive things. And so that's where it goes from a business perspective, and we get performances. You know, we can be compensated for that, but even if it's not monetarily compensated, the fact that Jordan said to me one day, I said, you know, do you ever want to stop performing this song? Are you cool performing? He said, no, Dad, I want to perform it because I like the impact that it makes on people's lives. Remember we said that? Mm-hmm. And kids was coming up to him. He was in his school. His principal came up to him and said, can I play the song in the cafeteria during lunch? Things like that it impacts his friends, it impacts people hearing a song like Why Daddy.
Hey, you know what? I just got to say what you guys are doing, and that's why we have you here. The time is 1:29. Oh, shout out to you. Tyron Frazier was here with the Bravo Awards.
Yeah.
And I told him, you know, I'm like, I remember last year. Okay, 1:29. How can people find you guys?
Social media at Vincent Ellis White on everything, or Google Vincent Ellis White.
Jordan, thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Appreciate y'all.
You
Love
killed
y'all.
it. You killed it.
Yeah.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, coming up next, it is the Election Day special. We have Skylar Washington is going to be here, Matthew T. Redmond, Talbot Little, good talking about the election from their perspective. After that, we're going to have Katherine Wintsch is going to be here with Slay Like a Mother. On the Mic with Mike. We'll be back shortly. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Kim Gray, a member of Richmond City Council. I'm running for mayor of Richmond. I am the only candidate running for mayor with the integrity and experience necessary to lead us through this time of uncertainty. Like you, I am fully vested in this great city that I love. I'm saddened by the vandalism and lawlessness that has ravished our great city, the vulgar graffiti that makes it impossible to take my children downtown, and the lack of coherent leadership to deal with our issues on any level. Our high school dropout rate is a staggering 30%. This is unacceptable. As your mayor, I pledge to restore peace and clean up Richmond so we can be proud of our downtown, get our businesses back open, and help our children succeed in school. I love Richmond. It's not a stepping stone for me to another office. Like you, this is my home, and together we'll make it once again the greatest city in America. I ask for your vote. I'm Kim Gray, candidate for mayor, and I paid for and authorized this message.
Happy Tuesday and happy Election Day. This is Kiara Johnson with your WJFN 100.5 FM weather report, brought to you by Dominion Energy. Richmond, today's going to be sunny, high 62, great weather to vote. For your tonight, a clear sky, low 39. There is a freeze warning in effect for Richmond. Charlottesville, sunny, high 66. For your tonight, a clear sky, low 38. Freeze warning is in effect in Charlottesville as well. Fredericksburg, plentiful sunshine, high 63. Tonight, a clear sky, low 36. And there is also a freeze warning in effect until 9 a.m. this morning for both Fredericksburg, Charlottesville, and also Richmond. All right, that has been your weather report. Please visit DominionEnergy.com.
Folks, this is the most important election of our time. America itself is on the ballot. The police are on the ballot as the radicals push to defund law enforcement while doing nothing to deter the looting and violence tearing apart our nation's cities. The fact is, our safety is on the ballot too, and our way of life. That's why I'm urging you to join an effort sponsored by the Job Creators Network. They're working with the biggest conservative host in America, like me. This election is about one thing: turnout. The left has their get out the vote machine now. We need ours. That's why the single most important thing you can do to save our country is go to keepamericaamerica.com. That's keepamericaamerica.com and become a volunteer in the biggest get out the vote effort in history. You'll be given tasks that can make a difference in November. Do a little, do a lot, but please do your part. Go to keepamericaamerica.com now. That's keepamericaamerica.com.
Welcome to the SBA Weekly Business Tip. I'm Martin Short with the U.S. Small Business Administration, Virginia Richmond District Office. There are primarily 4 ways to fund your business. One way is crowdfunding. Crowdfunding raises funds from many people. Crowdfunders aren't technically investors because they don't receive a shared ownership in the business. Crowdfunding is popular because it's a very low risk for business owners. Crowdfunding platforms are different. Read the fine print and understand all the obligations. To learn more, visit us at sba.gov/VA. We're here to help you start, grow, expand, or recover.
Does your home need a makeover? If so, refresh with quality with LA Labor and Painting, LLC. They make your home sparkle and be the envy of the community. They are masters at interior and exterior painting, drywall. They clean decks. They landscape and remove items you wish were gone. The bottom line is, they refresh with quality, provide professional service, and follow all guidelines regarding COVID-19. Call today to make your home sparkle. You can reach LA Labor by calling 804-972-8014. Call today for the On the Mic with Mike discount. When you mention the program, you'll receive 20% off of the beautification of your most prized possession. Call LA Labor and Painting today at 804-972-8014.
Thank you, attorneys Justin Lauder and Chris Gatewood at Threshold Counsel PC for sponsoring this program. They offer startup, business, and intellectual property services for innovative and growing organizations. You can find them online at threshold.cc.
Are you tired of dating online? Bloom Matchmaking offers a safe and effective alternative. Every match is vetted and background checked. Bloom Matchmaking offers a personalized experience just for you. Check us out at bloommatchmaking.com or give us a call at 804-205-5063. Let Bloom take the stress out of dating. Mention On the Mic with Mike and receive 20% off. That number again is 804-205-5063. Bloom Matchmaking, where love grows.
On the Mic with Mike, the best business radio program in the game.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to On the Mic with Mike. It is the premier business enterprise show in the Richmond area. I'm your host, Mike King, and I appreciate you being here with me. I'd like to thank Vincent, Ellis White, and Jordan White for coming in. Next up, it is Election Day. It is a historic day in our country. So we're out here trying to make a difference. On the Mic with Mike, we're going to give you the millennial perspective here. So on the phone with us, we have Matthew T. Redmond. Matthew, hello, sir. Hello, Matthew. Hello, Matthew.
How are you doing? Am I coming in clear?
You are coming in crystal clear. So, you know, I don't want you not to be able to be heard because then people think it's a conspiracy. So we are not.
no suppression of my voice.
Exactly.
No
So we want you to be heard. We don't want to start off with anything. So Matthew Redmond, thank you for coming on. We also have Skylar Washington, who is here.
Hello.
Okay, so what we're going to do is, so folks, if you like to, we're going to give you guys a minute or two to talk a little bit about what you do and also your perspective. And then also, if people want to call in, we're going to go through a couple topics. What do you feel about the election, the mood in the country, and just we're going to take it from there. So, Matthew, the floor is yours. You introduce yourself, and congratulations on the book, too. I got to give you...
Thank you. 101 Reasons to Vote for Joe Biden, which is a political parody, a satire book, and it's been going like crazy. We hit #1 as a new release on Amazon. I had the idea around midnight 2 months ago, and in 30 days, me and my team released the book and got it out there, and it's gone literally all over the world. And so I can't be very happy. I can't be even more happy about it. I'm very happy about it, and people today are just so interested in this election. It's one of the most hotly contested ones. I'm here in Delaware, where Joe Biden is, where his camp has been for the majority of this election, and I'm watching with star-glazed eyes at what's going to go on and what's going to be happening.
Okay, so Skylar is here. So Matthew, you're a young black man, and you are a proud MAGA supporter. And when you were here before, I asked you, when did you get on the Trump train? And what did you tell me?
It started in middle school, because during that time we were dealing with the issue of the invasion of Iraq, and everybody was talking. It's the conversation that dominated much of the headlines. And should we go in? Should we not? Should we use force, or should we use diplomacy? Should we go in and nuke them? And I remember 9/11. I remember it happening. And every year since that time, I was 11 years old, but every year since that time, I didn't understand it then, but I began to understand it more and more and more, how important and how devastating that day was. And so that's how I began to formulate my opinions.
Okay, so Donald Trump comes down the escalator, and what does Matthew Redmond say?
Well, you know what? Well before 2015, when he came down that escalator, people were always asking him. You had him on Oprah in 1988, and many of the big late night and other talk show hosts would ask him, are you going to run for president? Because he was very popular. He made his opinions known.
Yes.
And he said, I'm not. So well before then, folks knew that he had some sort of political leaning. And I remember him going to a conservative conference in 2012 called CPAC, the Conservative Political Action Conference.
Okay.
And this was a time when Ron Paul was the big guy during the Tea Party. And they were asking him, are you going to run? Are you going to run? Mitt Romney ran. But when he came down, I was behind him.
So in other words, he had you at hello.
He had me at America, and this is what he said. America has potential. We have a lot of potential.
All righty. Well, Matthew, thank you for that. So now we're going to give Skylar just a chance to talk. So, Skylar, tell folks a little bit about yourself, who you are and what you do, and then your views on where we are. How did we get here today, and what does this look like?
Okay, well, my name is Skylar. I'm a public health nurse. I work for the Virginia Department of Health. I think that this election, like everyone's been saying, is going to be a very hard one. But I think working in public health, I've been working with the health department since June. And so I think I come from, the the healthcare standpoint, everything that's been going on with coronavirus. And that's kind of how I'm looking at the country right now. And what I'm seeing, just like what a lot of people are seeing, is not very fun. So I think, we're just trying to get through it. We're just trying to protect people as best as we can. And I think, we'll go into it later, but I think the president's response to coronavirus has not been ideal. I think a lot of lives could have been saved if he acted differently and more effectively towards what's going on. And even now with all of the rallies that he's holding, it's disheartening to see, to be completely honest. So that's where I am.
Okay, so you guys have different political views. Talk a little bit about the energy of people your ages and the youth who are out there. What's the temperature and the feel of the young folks? Skylar?
Well, for me personally, I think I speak for a lot of people my age. I think that this was just like in 2016, it was a lesser of two evils type of situation. I wanted Bernie. I think a lot of people my age wanted Bernie. I voted for Elizabeth Warren because she was a woman, but I also did want Bernie.
So you went down there. What was it that she was a woman that was appealing?
I felt like I just needed, the solidarity part with other women. I think a lot of women took that route. I think it was very special to cast a ballot for a woman in the primary. So that was like my biggest thing.
Okay. So Matthew, I know sometimes you're out there. Talk a little bit about the mood among the young conservatives and even the conservatives of color too.
Yeah, and it's been very interesting. Usually you don't hear this right, but you list the celebrities on the left that are supporting and all the big names, but it's kind of an anomaly when I say in 2013, if I would have told you that Mitt Romney would not be supporting the candidate on his party's ticket, but Lil Wayne and Lil Pump and all these other hip hop people would be doing that, you would call me crazy. But what we've been seeing is a fervent ground game for President Trump that's illustrative of how people feel. Students for Trump, go on social media and you'll see the swarms of people all across this nation, teens for Trump, college students for Trump, young professionals for Trump. I'm talking about hundreds of thousands of people. And just to put it in perspective, over 10 million phone calls were made. Over 3.6 million voter doors were knocked, and the large majority have been done by what we call Gen Zers, millennials, and Gen Yers.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, the program is On the Mic with Mike, Skylar Washington, Matthew T. Redmond here. This is the Election Day special. If you'd like to talk to these dynamic young folks, you can give us a call, 804-778-8888. So, Matthew, I'm not sure if you're able to see, but when you were talking, Skylar had that look on her face like, come on, man. You pulled out the Lil Wayne, and, okay.
Yeah, I think that a lot of people, black celebrities, that's a hard topic. And
is Lil Wayne a black celebrity for...
Technically.
I
think that a lot of black celebrities right now, like Summer Walker also did the same thing. They're very worried about their money. Right now, like music especially, the music industry is dying right now because there's no tours because of coronavirus. That's how a lot of artists make their money. They're trying to keep their money, and that's why they don't want to vote for Joe Biden because of the tax plan that he has. I have issues. A lot of people, have issues with that because as a black celebrity, I feel like, we give them the power. And so sometimes it's a slap in the face when they turn around and they're like, I'm going to vote for Trump. Because it's like you're not doing what the people that support you care about.
So, Matthew, you had said if we had said that Mitt Romney wouldn't support the ticket in 2013. Let me ask you this right here. What, is it possible to disagree with the person? What can we go with a politic? It has to be scorched earth. It's all or nothing. That we can just disagree, but because we don't agree, I hate your guts or you hate my guts or I can't see anything. Is that possible, you guys? That's for either one of you.
Yeah, it's not. And here's the thing. We have to come to a point of civility. And what do I mean by that? This has been one of the most hotly contested elections that we've ever had in the history. And some people say since the early 1900s, etc. But let me just tell you what this divisiveness has motivated. Over 65 million ballots have been cast by mail. Historic. And by the way, I'd like to say, Mike, that this election is going to be in a tizzy because these millions and millions and millions of ballots, some cities have 6 million people, some cities have 12 million people. They weren't allowed to be counted until today. So starting today at 12 midnight, you have cities that have to go through millions of ballots, confirm their signatures, etc. But that's just on the mail-in. You have early voting, which has been historic, and now you have people that are voting in person. We are going to see one of, and this is because of the divisiveness, this is because of what this election has conjured up. We're likely to possibly see over 150 million voters vote this election.
Alrighty. Matthew, hold on 1 second. We have to go away. We have to pay some of those bills that we're talking about. We'll be back in just a moment.
Paid faster with fair rates, helping your business grow. We can be contacted at area code 804-503-8472, 804-503-8472, or at getbeyond.com. Again, I'm Tom Childry, the credit card guy. Quick, easy collect. We make it easier than you expect.
Are you experiencing difficulties with paying your mortgage or bringing your mortgage current? If so, we can help. Give Neighborhood Home and Assistance a call at 1-800-441-6872 or text 757-951-3048 for an immediate response. We have over 10 years of mortgage experience working with some of the largest mortgage corporations in America. For more information, visit neighborhoodhomeassistance.com to schedule your free over-the-phone consultation. Remember, time is one thing we can't get back, and your home is your investment. Act fast.
Hi, my name is Catrice Roots, CEO of Catrice Roots Productions. Are you looking for a videographer to film advertisements for your business, weddings, special events, and many other activities? Then I am the person you want to contact. Contact me by my email at catricerootsproductions@gmail.com. Also visit my website at catricerootsproductions.com. Also, feel free to follow me on Instagram at Catrice Roots.
Are you tired of dating online? Bloom Matchmaking offers a safe and effective alternative. Every match is vetted and background checked. Bloom Matchmaking offers a personalized experience just for you. Check us out at bloommatchmaking.com or give us a call at 804-205-5063. Let Bloom take the stress out of dating. Mention On the Mic with Mike and receive 20% off. That number again is 804-205-5063. Bloom Matchmaking, where love grows.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to On the Mic with Mike. It is the daily social enterprise business show in the area. I'm your host, Mike King. Today's the Election Day special. Matthew T. Redmond on the phone. Skylar Washington in studio. Matthew, I'm sorry. We didn't want to pull a plug on you, but I had Kiera with her finger on the button, and we had to go away and make that happen. So go ahead, sir. The floor is yours again.
Yeah, and I appreciate that. What I'm saying is this will be one of the highest voter turnouts that we've had. And to put that in perspective, in the early 90s, we would have a total of 60 to 70 million. Well, now we have 120 million. That's a good indicator. Voter participation is up. And even though it's up historically, we still have folks I'm sure you and I and Skylar knows, we know folks that are just not going to vote. They're just not going to vote. They're eligible to vote. They are able-bodied, but they're just not going to.
Okay, so wait a second. Skylar's shaking her head. Yes. Skylar, why are they not voting?
Well, I think a lot of young people are not going to vote because they don't like the two candidates, just like what happened in 2016. Okay. I also think the black celebrities, and like if you want to bring that back up again, Kanye West keeps telling everybody on Twitter to write in his name. So that's something else I think is going to happen a lot, just like in 2016 when everybody was voting for Harambe the gorilla. You know, like that's something else I think is going to happen this year too.
Okay, so Matthew, Skylar we talked about Bernie during the break, and Skylar brings up, she has a different perspective. So when you say you're Jewish, you have to let people know that you were.
Yes, I was born Jewish.
You didn't just convert to being Jewish.
No, I was born Jewish. My grandma's from Russia. So when we were talking during the break, it was funny. I had a similar conversation with her about Bernie because I was trying to, say all the good things about him, but she kept sticking on the whole socialism thing. And I think that that's kind of used as a way to scare people and as a way to just kind of deter from, like, even having a conversation. Just like, oh, he's a socialist, and then that's the whole conversation. And she was like, well, I left Russia, to get away from communism. Why would I now go vote for a socialist? And I was, just talking about capitalism today, and how this country is economically, from my standpoint and what I understand. And I was explaining everything, and I was like, well, that's capitalism, Grandma. Like, that's what's happening right now, and it's not good, and that Bernie wants to change that. But I think buzzwords, people all over politics use them. People didn't realize that Obamacare and the ACA were the same thing. So it's just little things like that where they use certain words to scare people and to just detract people. And then there's not even a conversation to be had at that point.
So, Matthew, what does America look like tomorrow with a Trump win, or a Trump loss? What happens then?
And I'd like to say...
Okay, come on. Don't start with the political speak, sir. I know where you're going. Okay, so...
Well, where I was going with that is about the Bernie situation. We cannot forget that over 553,000 votes were lost to Bernie due to California Democratic Party rules. And you can fact check me on that. Not because of people that weren't allowed. Many people think, and this isn't my only view, but many people think that Bernie and his campaign had the election this year again stolen from him to prop up a candidate of their choosing.
Okay, now Skylar is shaking her head. She's shaking her head like, yeah, that sounds good to me.
No, I personally feel that way.
I've got 2 points of agreement from Skylar. That's 2 head shakes.
I personally, I think, we could definitely have civil conversations, and I do agree with that. I think the DNC, has a certain way that it wanted to go, and it didn't want to go the Bernie way, the progressive way.
Okay, all right, so now this is the older person talking to you young guns here. What is it about the progressive side of the Democratic Party that scares older people? Like the whole AOC and the squad and the progressives. Can you guys talk a little bit about that? You can set aside the conservative side and the liberal. Let's just talk about young people and older folks. What scares us?
Personally, I think it goes back to the buzzwords. I think that's what's scary to people. I think that they watch, because a lot of older people just watch like cable news, and they're not on Twitter, they're not on Instagram, they're not on Facebook. Well, some of them are on Facebook getting their news there, but that's a whole different thing. But I think that, once someone says something and the news says something, the newspaper says something, then that's all people are, looking at.
So so Matthew, what's your thoughts there?
Well, you're looking at the Democratic Party that is literally being hijacked from what they call, in quotation, the far left radicals. And many people like Nancy Pelosi or the establishment do not agree with these hard-line radicals. I remember growing up, and the most radical idea that you would hear in the inner cities is, should we fund early childhood education, and you can probably remember that, Mike.
Yes.
Should we put money to early childhood education, or should we fund the lottery, right? Or should we allow the lottery? That was radical back then. But today, the most radical ideas are being presented in the halls of Congress. And what are they? Can we allow a baby to be out of the mother's womb and then execute them? These are conventions that 10 years ago, 20 years ago, we wouldn't even be talking about. And it's really scary.
Skylar just had a moment there when you went down that road.
Yeah, I personally, I have a lot of moments when men like to talk about reproductive rights. Yeah, I mean, personally, I feel like that should not be discussed in Congress at all. I don't think that a woman's rights should be discussed at all. I think they should not be touched, but that's like a whole different thing. I think
so that's a touchy subject.
Yeah.
And one of the things is, so men presiding over what happens with women's bodies is something, it's good for the conversation because, right. And that's why you guys are looking at things from a different perspective, man and woman, liberal and conservative, but you're all saying, okay, so how can we make this work? So we got about 2 minutes before we have to go to the break. Matthew, and we got to talk about this one. You talked about the Democratic Party being hijacked. What does the Conservative Party and the Republicans look like post-Trump?
And you asked that question. I think that's a great question.
Yes, that's why we asked this. This is a hardcore, hard-cutting news program here.
Yeah. So the American liberalism, we have to ask the question, what is that and what does it mean going forward? What do we envision as America? And we have President Trump on one side that says, I want to go back to the wins that I've been producing for the last 4 years. If you ask anybody, what has he been doing and what has been radical about his agenda, they'll mention the tariff issue with China. They'll mention the free trade agreement. So they'll mention the tax cuts that have been gotten. And if those are the far radical ideas that they will portray about Trump, they don't mention how he's let loose and freed from prison all of those folks that Biden and his cronies had put in prison because of drug offenses. I'm talking about lifelong sentences. And he's been on a rampage of freeing people from jail, lifelong sentences for drug offenses. And that's one thing that we have to talk about, these non-violent offenses. And nobody wants to deal with it. Nobody in Congress wants to deal with those offenses until Trump came in. And on the other hand...
Okay, hold up. Hold. You're on a roll. We have to go away to break. We'll be back shortly with Matthew T. Redmond, Skylar Washington.
JFN Chester.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm John Scott. Americans are lining up to vote on Election Day. President Trump and Democrat Joe Biden will await those results, which, due to mail-in balloting, may not be finalized as soon as in past elections. Biden spent yesterday campaigning in Ohio and Pennsylvania. The president stumped in 4 battleground states, including Michigan.
A few minutes before midnight, President Trump and Vice President Pence arrived to a roaring crowd here at an airport rally in Grand Rapids, Michigan. The president told the large audience, "We're going to make history once again." Making his final pitch for re-election, Mr. Trump predicted an exciting election day, even as his lawyers prepare for expected legal challenges over mail-in and absentee ballots. Greg Clugston, Grand Rapids, Michigan.
Also at townhall.com, judging by the plywood, it's shaping up to be an election day like no other. Correspondent Bernie Bennett with that report.
In downtown Washington, the sound of hammers and power tools echoed through the streets Monday as workers boarded up dozens of businesses. In New York City, businesses from Macy's flagship store in Herald Square to high-end shops in Manhattan's Soho neighborhood had already covered up their windows. Washington authorities pledged to keep the peace, with police officials saying that the entire department would be on the job on Election Day. In a radio interview in New York City, Mayor Bill de Blasio said it was too early to predict what would happen, but that the city would be ready. Bernie Bennett reporting.
Federal authorities are monitoring voting and any threats to the election across the country at an operations center just outside Washington, D.C., run by the cybersecurity component of the Department of Homeland Security. Britain raising its terror threat level to severe, the second highest level. Following recent attacks in Austria and France, the threat level of severe means it's considered highly likely. On Wall Street, stocks higher, the Dow up 466 points, now the Nasdaq 165 points higher. More at townhall.com.
Let's say you've decided to build a bicycle from scratch. Sounds like an impossible project for my skills, but let's say you've got the skills and I offer you an advantage, a special tool that would help you build the bike faster while saving you legitimate money. My guess is you'd say, bring it on. If you wouldn't, well then this commercial isn't going to make much sense. My name is Ryan, I'm from United Faith Mortgage, and we believe we have an advantageous tool for you. Our mortgage team is lucky to have a direct lender advantage. Our company is set up to use its own money and make its own lending decisions within its own walls. And often, this advantage allows us to get your refinance or new home loan done faster and get you a better rate, which saves you monthly and lifelong money. Rates are historically low. Now is the time to see how our special tool might work for you. We are United Faith Mortgage.
United Faith Mortgage is a DBA of United Mortgage Corp. 25 Melville Park Road, Melville, New York. Licensed mortgage banker. For all licensing information, go to nmlsconsumeraccess.org. Corporate NMLS number 1335. RAC NMLS number 65233. Equal housing lender. Licensed in Alaska, Hawaii, Georgia, Massachusetts, North Dakota, South Dakota, or Utah.
Austria's chancellor says yesterday's shootings in Vienna were clearly an Islamist terror attack and promised the country would defend its democracy.
According to officials, the assailant was a 20-year-old Austrian man who also had North Macedonian citizenship. He had been convicted to a prison sentence for trying to go to Syria to join IS and was released early from jail in December. In an address to the nation, Austria's Chancellor Sebastian Kurz described the shooting as an attack on free society. But he added, we shouldn't fall into the trap laid by terrorists who want to divide society. Our enemies are never the members of a particular religion, he said.
BBC correspondent Damian McGuinness. Voters across Puerto Rico choosing new leaders they hope can heal a U.S. territory that's racked by corruption, hurricanes, and earthquakes. 6 candidates are seeking to become the island's next governor. Breaking news at townhall.com. Drive-ins finding a new life in a pandemic.
Summer and early fall have seen the old drive-in transformed into a surprisingly elastic omnibus of pandemic-era gatherings. It's hosted concerts, comedy shows, business conferences, Sunday services, graduations, and weddings. And with temperatures dropping even more, some snow flurries falling in the northern half of the country, one of the pandemic's few bright spots is running low on time. Many drive-ins are staying open well beyond normal closing, and some are selling a lot of hot chocolate. Ron DeRockstra reporting.
Authorities have lifted the last evacuation order from the southeast Texas vicinity of a freight train derailment last week. Orange County officials said nearby schools will reopen today for the first time since freight cars left the track last Thursday morning near Mauriceville, close to the Louisiana border. There were no reports of any injuries from that accident on the Kansas City Southern line. More on these stories at townhall.com. I'm John Scott.
This is Bishop E.W. Jackson, chairman of Christians for the President, urging every American of African descent to go to the polls on November 3rd and vote against the genocide perpetrated on black Americans. Planned Parenthood founder Margaret Sanger wanted to use abortion to eliminate the black population. She called it the Negro Project. That is why they put abortion mills near the black community, pay Democrats to betray black citizens, and have killed 20 million black babies in the last 50 years. Margaret Sanger was supported by the Ku Klux Klan, and her racist legacy is still killing black babies. The blood of dead black children funds Democrat campaigns. President Trump is trying to save black babies. Democrats are trying to kill them. And they call President Trump a racist? Vote to stop Democrat genocide on black babies. Vote Donald Trump for president. Paid for by Christians for the President.
Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the United States.
No doubt you've noticed that on the wall there are the prints of 4 men. Men that I consider, in my book, are about the 4 top
Hi everyone, it's Pavi Leitner, the CEO and founder of FinLit and your family's certified financial educator, dedicated to the financial success of you and your family. Are you not sure where to start with your finances? Or are you looking to sign your middle schooler up for our virtual camp? Book us at www.finlitva.com. That is www.finlitva.com. FinLit is creating a money-conscious community.
I enjoy listening to On the Mic with Mike every day at 1 p.m.
Welcome back to On the Mic with Mike. It's the premier daily social enterprise business show in the area. I'm your host, Mike King. I appreciate you being here. With some of the ads that you had just heard, I read my disclaimer again. That's one of the things of being on a conservative station when you don't lean that way. The views expressed here are mine, have no connection to, support of, or agreement with any other host. Information or ads on the station. I don't work for the station. My program airs here on a daily basis, bringing you the game changers so you can make up your mind for yourself. With us today on the election special, we have Skylar Washington, who's here, who has a look on her face that says some of the things that she just heard were just a little bit different. Matthew T. Redmond, proud MAGA supporter. Matthew, can we talk a little bit about the response to the COVID outbreak and your president running around with the events that he's been having the last 48, 72 hours trying to get reelected again? Sir, the floor is yours. Have at it.
Yeah, and a lot of the stories that we've been hearing about COVID and the president's response hasn't been shared. How the Obama administration aided and abetted by Joe Biden as vice president depleted our national stockpiles, left us and the healthcare. I mean, Skylar works in healthcare, left them absolutely vulnerable. In response, we always knew of the possibility of a biological warfare, which this very, with all intents and purposes, could be. But we were ill prepared, and this was not on the part of President Trump. He shut down travel to China. He had, during the Board of Governors meeting a year prior, last year in December, they had a briefing with the Governors Association, all 50 states, including Puerto Rico, about the lethality of COVID-19, and still governors chose to do nothing with that information. The president did prepare, and when he shut down travel, we had people the likes of which the Democrat leader of the House, Nancy Pelosi, walking through Chinatown saying there's nothing to fear, we shouldn't do that, it's xenophobic.
Well, so I kind of want to clear up that whole Nancy Pelosi thing because I feel like that keeps coming up a lot. She did that because everyone in Chinatown was like getting boycotted, basically. Nobody was going to Chinatown. They were scared to go to Chinatown. So she was trying to show people that it's okay to go to Chinatown. That's all that was. I don't think it really had much to do with the travel ban.
Matthew, when we look at, integrity with leaders, when you have the president saying one thing to the people and he has said something totally different to a respected journalist, talk a little bit about what that means in politics, because it sounds like you have a future in politics. I mean, well, I don't know when you're running, and I don't know what you're running for, but one day I'm going to see Matthew T. Redmond running for something. Talk a little bit about integrity with your people.
And this is a great point. I think it's far, far gone, and something that people need to really bring back into politics. And I always say this, and you and I have a mutual friend that we talk to about this all the time. There's hypocrisy on both sides, and I call out the right and I call out the left, because they ought to be held to account. And you always say there's only a little bit of people that are bad. Like we talk about the police department, we talk about healthcare, and you say, oh, there's only a small fraction. Well, in politics, there's like the majority of people are bad, and then you have a slither that are good. How can we restore integrity is by putting the power where it ought to lie, and that's with ordinary citizens. Public servants have to remember that they are servants first. The executive order, the overreach, and before there was a Mitch McConnell, we have to remember there was a Harry Reid on the Democrat side. And let me just say the story. Harry Reid was the one that invoked the nuclear option that the Democrats are seeing the repercussions of with the confirmation of Amy Coney Barrett. It was Harry Reid that said we only need a simple majority. And they didn't know that only a few years later they would hate that very determination, because it's that very simple majority that got the confirmation process for an Amy Coney Barrett. But this hypocrisy has been long gone. It's been here, and it'll stay here until we, the people, the ordinary citizens, hold our politicians to account.
Okay. But you think that that's, like, I'm not sure that anything is going to change if Trump gets elected. If anything, it's going to be worse, because he really said, like, multiple times, like, I didn't want to panic anybody. I did not want to scare anybody, so I did not make coronavirus a big deal. Like, 200,000 plus people have died. I work with a very vulnerable population, and my residents die almost every day because of what the president's saying. So, you know, electing Trump again is not going to help this issue at all.
So let me ask you guys, what does the future look like with young people like you getting involved in politics? Skylar, is it worthwhile for people your age to get involved in politics?
I think that it is. I think that it's always good to be informed.
How about the price that people have to pay? And how much of your background do we need to know about you before we're entrusting you with the keys to the kingdom to run the business of government at whatever level? Just like in general? In general.
I mean, I personally feel like somebody should be very transparent. You know, and that's something that we're seeing in these two presidential candidates right now. Like, we're seeing Joe Biden, and he's released a lot of his tax records. And, you know, we just have rumors about Trump's, basically. We don't know what's going on. And that's just one small piece of the lack of transparency.
Matthew, what's your thoughts there?
Yeah,
do we need to know the deals that you've made in your prior life before you show up to be whatever you're going to be? Is it important? Well,
there's a lot of issues, and you pack a punch with your questions, Mike. I mean, gosh, I got to unpack it. I need some time to unpack it.
There you go. The floor is yours.
Well, because we talk about politicians and how they come into office. In this case, we have a Joe Biden who has been into office ever since he was younger than I, and for 47 years at the expense of the American electorate, of the American taxpayer. He has aggrandized himself and his family. He's lifted up his own wealth. He came in with no money, and he's leaving with other people's money from foreign companies, and they're talking about Trump taking foreign money. Well, do you know what Trump did?
Well, Trump also has a private Chinese bank account that no one even knew about. So
well, that's a lot of hearsay, but do you know what Trump did when he came into office in 2016? He said, any foreign entity that spends money, I elect. Now, there is no legal basis for this, and we talk about having him turn over his tax returns. There is no legal requirement or basis for this, but he said, out of the abundance of caution, any foreign entity that spends money with my corporation, I'm going to refund to the Treasury. And he's done that. So here's a president that not only has gone over and above, but he's not taking a salary. By law, he has to take $1, but he donates the remainder of his salary to all types of government services and private enterprise. But I want to highlight another thing that we're not talking about, and that's a Biden presidency versus a Trump presidency. We've not seen the black agenda. And Mike, your program is far-reaching, but you have two minorities, two people of color on your line, and we've not talked about what Trump has done for the black community. The HBCUs, they had to come every year and request funding for their HBCUs. The president made it permanent, made funding permanent. That was one of his first things that he did in the first year. Now, let me just say this. The president never had on his agenda in 2016 activism, First Step Act, opportunity zones, block employment. That was never on his agenda because he didn't have insight into it. But as he began to govern and he became aware of the issues plaguing minority communities, what you've seen is black employment increase, 1.3 million, opportunity zones, 75 billion. You've seen private equity investments into inner cities, Minority Business Development Agency. Many of you have never heard of that. The Minority Business Development Agency has become an administrative level agency.
Can I ask you, can I ask you a question with that? Since all of those things have been done to help Black America, how come he's only going to get, if lucky, 10% of the vote? Is it brainwashing, or are some of those not totally accurate and playing fast and loose with the rules? I'm just saying. I'm just a here guy asking the questions, Matthew.
And I say that, but you have to understand how much percentage of the black vote Trump got in 2016, and it was way more than what Romney got. Some estimates have at 10%. If he pulls off 10% of the black vote, that'll be a +2 percentage increase, but I think it'll be more. I think what we're going to hear is that his increase in voter participation among African American males, amongst African American young people, and amongst African American women. Why? Because he has made his record still. He has been, and he says this all the time, I've been the best pro-black president, and I want Skylar, or you, Mike, to put Trump's record against Obama, put Trump's record for the black community against Bill Clinton, put it up apples to apples, and let's go through all of the wins in terms of the First Step Act. If we just deal with the First Step Act and releasing people from prison, that alone, and it hasn't stopped. He just released it because it has to go through the courts and it has to go through a process of states. But his administration has been pulling. They have names and names and names of people that they're going to continue if he is elected for another 4 years. And by the way, we've not heard the Biden plan. And it came out from Ice Cube that they didn't even want to present a plan. We haven't even talked about the Platinum Plan.
So hold on a second, sir. So you're here, and you brought out the constituency of Black America. You brought out Ice Cube and Lil Wayne are not representative of most Black Americans. We're going to go down that road. If we're looking at how people see and look at things, when we look at COVID, Black Americans are affected disproportionately higher than the rest of the population. When we look at some of the things that Trump does, when we talk about racist things or, inciting a level of energy that's not good, when you're talking about their good sides on both sides. The president is supposed to set the tone on the temperament of America and to be above board. When you are straight up lying to people and saying there's nothing to see here, then you are talking to a reporter and saying something totally different. What it does, it undercuts the people's belief in the system, especially when they find out. What I'm saying to you guys is it's good to have this conversation about what's happening with us. So when we look at this tomorrow, Matthew, what's the world going to say about America and this experiment with this last 4 years, and does Trump win?
That's a power-packed message, and I want to say we have to look at his record, right? And we have to put his record up against other presidents and what he's done, even Biden, because Biden's running with Harris. Because
we can also talk about Kamala Harris, yes, and she does not have a very good record as a prosecutor, and that's something that a lot of young people have been talking about, have been speaking out about. But like I said at the beginning, it's literally about the lesser two evils, and we're trying to figure out you said you wanted to instore integrity into this country, and that's the best way to do it, to vote for somebody that is transparent and not somebody that has been lying about coronavirus, has been lying about his taxes, has been lying about nepotism, has been lying about foreign policy. We haven't even talked about Russia. We haven't talked, there's so many different things that have happened in these 4 years, and it doesn't instill my confidence at all in
Please
America.
name it. What has happened in the last 4 years other than releasing blacks who have had lifelong prison sentences, releasing them, right?
So
Let's talk about funding the HBCUs, historic wage growth, historic underemployment, even for black Americans, high employment. So what's been happening over the last 4 years?
So 220,000 people died of coronavirus, and that disproportionately affected black people. Black people were 2 times more likely to die by coronavirus due to social determinants of health and other things brought on by Trump and his presidency. That should be the only thing. I shouldn't even have to have other examples. That's so many people. That's so many lives. You want to talk about numbers? That's a lot of people.
When we talk about the 200,000 people who have died, we're talking about states' responses. Now, even at his own admission in New York, Governor Cuomo, who is a blue dog Republican.
So that's something else that I don't understand. Why is the president even trying to divide the states and who receives coronavirus response? Why does a blue state get a different response than a red state? This is America, and it's 50 states. Everybody should be getting the same response.
Everybody is treated disproportionately, and it's in the process legally. Every state determines by their own government and their own governor what they request from the federal government.
What they request, but not what they receive.
Now, what Governor Cuomo of New York, and they have the whole entire reel, every governor who requested ventilators, every governor that requested medical services, the National Guard, active duty military, they were given exactly what they requested. If they didn't request it, the president's hand was tied. We didn't talk about what President Obama did when he depleted our readiness.
Okay, one second here. So we're going to run short on time, but I have a question. At what point do you stop saying that this happened at a previous administration? And I think that's where we are right now, that people are saying we should not be talking about Hillary Clinton. Let's not talk about the thing with Obama. Let's talk about what's happened. And we could go back to people who understand and idolize Ronald Reagan. And there's one question: are you better today than you were 4 years ago? And I think that's going to be the question that people are going to ask. And then when we look at it, when you ask a person to say we cannot undermine the integrity of an election because you don't like the results, or if you lose, we're going to challenge everything until the cows come home.
He hasn't even what's the word? He hasn't even said that he's going to commit to a peaceful transfer of power, and I think that that's absolutely unacceptable. I don't understand why he just. And it's crazy to me because I keep having these conversations with people, and people are saying, well, if he loses, that's it. And I'm like, but he hasn't said that. And this is something that we're going into completely, this is new.
Okay,
this has never happened.
The time is 2:25. Skylar, Washington, Matthew, Redmond here. So, folks, I'd like to thank you guys for coming on and offering your views. Matthew, Redmond, what happens with the election?
This election is the choice between, do we want 4 more years of one of the greatest presidents that we have had for African Americans, minorities, Hispanics, for business, for blue collars, for the forgotten?
Can I interrupt you? Can you just at least not say Hispanic or Latin people, because I feel like that's very disrespectful. There's literally Latin people in cages at the border right now that do not have food, do not have PPE.
Skylar, who built the cages?
It does not. So do you want to go back to that? So who built the cages and who depleted the COVID resources?
Yeah, who built the cages?
Okay, at the end of the day, it's what people are doing now, right? You literally.
Do you know who deported?
You
Do you
said.
know who deported the most?
Okay, hold on. Let her ask the question, then you can come back.
All I was gonna say is, you said that everybody knew that medical terrorism is a thing that can happen, and so 3 years into his presidency, it happened. You said that he should have had resources. You can't say from 2016 that. This is 2020. That's just, and the cages, like, that's just.
Okay,
yes, somebody built them.
It is tough. It is tough, and it's a hard situation because we're dealing with people's lives.
Exactly.
And this is nothing to be taken lightly. However, I will say that we have a plan, and the plan has already been happening over the last 4 years, and we want to continue it.
Okay, like to thank you with that. I got to jump in one thing with the plan. If plans are there, I think one of the things, and Matthew, you know how I lean, we need to make the plans known. Because to keep saying that we have a health care plan, and people don't like Obamacare, but they don't mind some of the things that come with it, like teeth, then I think that we really need to look at what's available out there, the information, and check it. When somebody says something, there is something in the media that says we have to call you on the reality of the truth. And I think we as the American electorate look at this and say we are, I guess we are owed by the people who are running for office to be above board. And when they're not, then we have to do something about it. So, Matthew, one last word. Send us out of here with some words of wisdom from our favorite MAGA supporter.
Go to joebidenbook.io. Go get 101 reasons to vote for Joe Biden. And the majority of people, don't be suppressed by the polls. Go out and vote and let your voice be heard.
Okay, so I got one before I go to Skylar. Can you, from a dating perspective, can a liberal and a conservative coexist in a relationship?
Look at James Carville. I mean, there's a lot of examples of this. James Carville was one of the chief architects behind getting an unknown Arkansas governor to the presidency.
Yeah, and we have the Conways too. So we
have the Conways, and Mary. He married Mary, who is a Republican strategist, and they've been married for many years. And I love my liberal friends. I have families that are liberal.
I'm sure you do.
Give them, it can work. It can work from a dating perspective,
all right,
from a marriage perspective.
Let people know how they can find Matthew T. Redmond, please.
Go to MatthewRedmond.com. Go to Matthew Redmond on Twitter and connect. Go to 101 Reasons to Vote for Joe Biden on Amazon, and let's connect.
I love it, man. You get it in. You are going to be running for office somewhere at some point. And make sure you remember On the Mic with Mike. Skylar, one last thing that you can send us out on a sane topic.
Well, I mean, I just think that everybody should wear a mask. Please bring hand sanitizer if you're going to vote today. People are saying to bring your own pen. Stay 6 feet apart. Yeah, and please wash your hands.
Alrighty, I'd like to thank our young folks here. Appreciate it. Up next, we have Katherine Wintsch, who is the driving force behind Slay Like a Mother. On the Mic with Mike, simply the best radio program in town. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Kim Gray, a member of Richmond City Council. I'm running for mayor of Richmond. I am the only candidate running for mayor with the integrity and experience necessary to lead us through this time of uncertainty. Like you, I am fully vested in this great city that I love. I'm saddened by the vandalism and lawlessness that has ravished our great city, the vulgar graffiti that makes it impossible to take my children downtown, and the lack of coherent leadership to deal with our issues on any level. Our high school dropout rate is a staggering 30%. This is unacceptable. As your mayor, I pledge to restore peace and clean up Richmond so we can be proud of our downtown, get our businesses back open, and help our children succeed in school. I love Richmond. It's not a stepping stone for me to another office. Like you, this is my home, and together we'll make it once again the greatest city in America. I ask for your vote. I'm Kim Gray, candidate for mayor, and I paid for and authorized this message.
Happy Tuesday and happy Election Day. This is Kiara Johnson with your WJFN 100.5 FM weather report, brought to you by Dominion Energy. Richmond, today's going to be sunny, high 62, great weather to vote. For your tonight, a clear sky, low 39. There is a freeze warning in effect for Richmond. Charlottesville, sunny, high 66. For your tonight, a clear sky, low 38. Freeze warning is in effect in Charlottesville as well. Fredericksburg, plentiful sunshine, high 63. Tonight, a clear sky, low 36. And there is also a freeze warning in effect until 9 a.m. this morning for both Fredericksburg, Charlottesville, and also Richmond. All right, that has been your weather report. Please visit DominionEnergy.com.
Leon Benjamin is a pastor, veteran, and small business owner running to represent you in Congress. This year's election is crucial for the 4th District. Our communities have been ignored and unserved by McEachin for too many years, and Leon Benjamin is ready to go to Washington to fight for our priorities. While our congressman has been missing nearly 20% of his votes, Leon Benjamin has been in our communities, fighting to secure better opportunities for nearly 20 years, and he is going to continue that fight for you in Congress. Leon Benjamin will fight for better education opportunities, a strong economy that benefits all Americans and fosters true economic mobility, and make sure our streets are safe for our children. Election Day is Tuesday, November 3rd. Make a plan to vote for your future, to vote for your communities, and to vote for Leon Benjamin. This ad was paid for by friends of Leon Benjamin.
Oh, hello. I'm Louise Keaton from the Whistle Stop Theater Company. You're listening to On the Mic with Mike.
Every day
at 1 p.m. Cheers.
There's a business show in RVA. On the Mic with Mike in RVA.
Welcome to the SBA Weekly Business Tip. I'm Martin Short with the U.S. Small Business Administration, Virginia Richmond District Office. There are primarily 4 ways to fund your business. One way is crowdfunding. Crowdfunding raises funds from many people. Crowdfunders aren't technically investors because they don't receive a shared ownership in the business. Crowdfunding is popular because it's a very low risk for business owners. Crowdfunding platforms are different. Read the fine print and understand all the obligations. To learn more, visit us at sba.gov/VA. We're here to help you start, grow, expand, or recover.
Does your home need a makeover? If so, refresh with quality with LA Labor and Painting, LLC. They make your home sparkle and be the envy of the community. They are masters at interior and exterior painting, drywall. They clean decks. They landscape and remove items you wish were gone. The bottom line is, they refresh with quality, provide professional service, and follow all guidelines regarding COVID-19. Call today to make your home sparkle. You can reach LA Labor by calling 804-972-8014. Call today for the On the Mic with Mike discount. When you mention the program, you'll receive 20% off of the beautification of your most prized possession. Call LA Labor and Painting today at 804-972-8014.
Mike with Mike from Michael Mike's. From the Michael Mike's. Michael Mike's.
Hi, I'm Roby Martin with CBS 6 Eat It Virginia, and I was just on the mic with Mike, which is AM 820 and FM 92.7. Me, Mike, Marcy, talking about all things Richmond. Tune in, man, tune in!
Ladies Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to On the Mic with Mike. It is the premier social business enterprise show in the area. I'm your host, Mike King. Those are my grandkids. Shout out to them for the getting the name of the program right. It's On the Mic with Mike, and it's Mike of Mikes with all of those things that they call it. I'd like to thank Skylar and Matthew for the spirited conversation that we're going to try and make it through this election day. And not just election day, but tonight, tomorrow, and hopefully this social experiment thing called America holds up, because it's a trying time. But I say we get the best and the brightest. I look out there and see who's doing some cool stuff. I run across a lady that I have been seeing since I came here, and the name got me at first. Slay Like a Mother. We have Katherine Wintsch in the building. Katherine, welcome to the program.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, so we got to get to certain things really quickly. I see a lot of the pictures that you have out there, black and white. That says I'm not fooling around. And the name, Slay Like a Mother, is a movement that I hear about. Talk a little bit about your journey, and then we'll get into branding, because the black and white thing just says, I ain't playing.
Yeah, I love that. Well, my journey, my story is that for 20 years of my life, from age 15 to 35, I lived with what I refer to as a dragon of self-doubt. And it was this negative voice inside my head that said I wasn't good enough, thin enough, tough enough, nice enough, mom enough, sister enough, whatever enough. And I was working myself to the grindstone. I had a big job and I had 2 kids, and I was exhausted, and every night that I laid my head on my pillow, I still felt like a failure. I still felt like I wasn't doing or accomplishing enough. So long story short, I went through lots of therapy, watched lots of Oprah episodes, read lots of self-help books, and I learned to slay my dragon of self-doubt, and then I wrote a book to help other women do the same thing.
Was it one thing, or was it just an accumulation of, okay, I've had enough of this right here?
Yeah, it was an accumulation of one of the big warning signs was whenever I achieved an accomplishment, let's say in my job, I became a senior vice president. It was a goal I had. I wanted to achieve it. I achieved it, and I was proud of myself for about 7 days.
And then?
And then it was like, well, gosh, I wonder what it takes to be an executive vice president. And then it was just back to the grind, and I felt like I was climbing with a pickaxe, and just working extraordinarily hard and a lot of hours. And it still was never enough for me, and it just was no way to live.
I remember I took Sandler training, and they used to say some of the scripts that you have from your time you're a kid, leave the kid in the car, because people don't deal with people with issues and, all of the mind things that we take and baggage that we bring from with us as kids. Here's another thing. So men a lot of times can drop off or leave bags a lot easier than women. I've been married for 40 years, so I understand and know the struggle and heard the struggle. Talk a little bit about the extra baggage that women carry and why there's a reason to slay like a mother, because there's that doubt that's always there. There's always somebody saying, hey, can you, where men can turn it off and click up.
Yeah. So I talk about that in Slay Like a Mother, and my research shows that, our brains are wired differently. And men, in the best of ways, it's more one-way roads, it's intersections, it's stoplights, and women we're all kind of jumbled up. It's like European back roads, and it's just messy, and we stew on things longer, things hurt us a little bit more, we don't leave them behind, like you said. So there's a lot that women can learn from men in that regard. I really believe that. But, so we carry this around, and it makes us think that we suck at everything that we do. And I do a lot of workshops and seminars with women and with men, and I did one recently where there was a husband and wife on the front row, and I asked everybody in the room to think about the last terrible thing you said to yourself. And then I said, share it with the person next to you. And this happened to be a married couple. And the woman was like, oh my gosh, I'm so embarrassed. I have 15 things and they're so horrible, and I don't want to tell my husband what I really believe about myself. And so she stalled and she said, you go first. And so her husband went, I can't think of anything. I can't think of anything.
At gunpoint, he couldn't think of anything. No. Because even at the best of time, my wife is looking at me. There was an episode where we joke about that she watched of Roseanne. And somebody said, Dan's a great man. And Roseanne said, yeah, I made him that way. Because men, we don't have the ability to articulate what we feel. That's why men love sports, because we can jump around like a 8-year-old and fall on the ground and rope and hug each other, whereas women are just happy that they won. The world ended for us because we don't get a chance to share those feelings with other men.
Yeah.
See, this program is kind of therapeutic for me.
See, get it
because
out.
I'm just sitting here. So when you had the idea that, how do you go about from the place where you are to writing a book? Like who are you to be like, I can write this right here? Is it therapy?
Very good question. Well, here's the deal. I had a message that I wanted to share. I had healed myself. I had slayed my dragon of self-doubt, and I knew that the tips and the tricks and the tools that I used worked. And so I felt selfish keeping them to myself. And so I started giving speeches about it. And I could see that it was helping women. They felt less alone. They could see someone saying the things that they felt. And then I felt like having a book would be the best way to get it out in a broader fashion, and I didn't know if I could write a book, but I figured that I work really hard. I do a lot of writing in general. I was already writing a blog, so I figured if somebody would trust me, to do it, and I could find a publisher that it would be really good. And it's actually much better than I thought it was going to be.
And you got that smile. the smile said,
I mean, I didn't know. I hadn't done it before. I was like, maybe it's going to suck, but and I had an amazing editor, and they helped make it better, and so.
So you're out there. You're going to write a book. You're giving speeches. All of a sudden, you start to see the light come on in people. When do you look back and say, "Hey, I kind of got a tribe of people back there," and it turns into, "Hey, this might be a movement. That there's some people who kind of believe in what I do."
Yeah, I am touched by other women who have been touched by this message every day of my life, and I get letters from young women in India saying that I have future-proofed their life, by talking about this dragon and naming it and making sure they know they're not alone, to women who are going through a terrible divorce and they need to believe in themselves more than ever before. And so it's really universal, and there's so many women that are struggling with self-doubt, and it's an exhausting way to live. And so if I can be a relief valve for them to know they're not alone, and if you follow these steps and say like a mother, it really, really will change your life. I tell people all the time, like, read the book. I promise you it will change your life. And if it doesn't, I'll buy it back from you, and I'll donate it.
You are not buying back many books, I would guess.
No.
I understand.
It's real.
Because it does matter. It does make a difference. So you're here today on a very historic day. You don't know what's going to happen. Is there a sort of an arrogance that the current administration and president has that kind of says, I'm going to take this and then it's going to be up to folks to take it away from me? Where are we as a country now? Compared to, say, 4 years ago or 8 years ago, and can we recover? So you didn't know you were coming here for this one.
It's an important day. I think the administration is immature and short-sighted and constantly degrades other human beings, which as a parent I'm not okay with. I think when you hold the highest position in the land, that you have to have a character and a respect for all human beings and all of humanity. And I think it's disgusting that's not there, and I hope it changes, and I hope we recover quickly because there's been a lot of pain inflicted.
What do you say about there's a segment of population, 35% of the people who don't find a problem with that?
I would invite anybody who doesn't have a problem with that to educate themselves on how marginalized communities feel and have felt under the power and wrath of someone who incites violence against people who look like them. And I think the more you can understand other cultures, other backgrounds, other lived experiences, then you can develop more empathy, but you have to take that step enough to care, and I think people should care enough.
One of the things before we moved here, we lived at, in a college town, we lived at Penn State, at Happy Valley, and young people believe the world could be a better place. They do. They believe it, and they try and make a difference because they think that they can. What it also does is it introduces you to people who are not like you. And I always say, black people know a bunch of white people.
Yep.
White people know about 3 black people, and they come unless it's through your kids, through work or whatever. We've gotten to a point, and with this movement, with this uprising, whatever you want to call it, you look out there and you see all kinds of people.
Yeah.
You see people you wouldn't. I saw the one sign that was most dear to me. It said, "This is so bad, even the introverts are coming
out here." Holding signs.
That's it says something. Talk a little bit about the unity in the unrest. I see you got the Black Lives Matter.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, I think the young people are going to be the ones to save us. I hope they save us tonight and in the coming weeks. But I think the unity has to be there to support Black Americans because, Black people know what's going on, and they know what's been going on for decades and for centuries. And it's only now, in my opinion, that white people and people that are not Black and brown, their eyes have been opened to the struggles, the difficulties, the hurdles that are institutionalized and systematic that have to change. And so I think that's where a lot of the unity that I'm seeing is coming from is an awakening. And I hope what happens is once you see something, you can't unsee it, you can't unknow it, and we have to fix it.
When people looked at George Floyd, that was something that you couldn't unsee it.
Right.
It was there, and a lot of times we try and sanitize things, whether it's executions or whatever. They go away, and I really think that's what this problem with the coronavirus is. It has a marketing branding problem. Because you don't see it. It's not like you get the eyes or the people are bleeding out of their eyes and you instantly see someone and you're like, I'm staying away from that person. It is something that's, the person goes away and you don't hear from it and numbers just keep stacking up. That was one of the questions I had wanted to ask Matthew about this administration when they're saying, 230,000, but only 10,000 of them died from actual COVID. Well, the person who died, their family, are we going to nitpick? Are they nitpicking what happened to them? So that's a soapbox. That's my soapbox here. And one of the good parts about being here at the station is outside of these couple hours, most of the thinking is on that side. And so, when we look at that, it's like, what am I going to bring here? What am I going to use this platform for? It's to talk to game changers like you. When we're going to come back, we're going to talk about the branding of Slay Like a Mother, the black and white pictures, the name, and how does you tell a person, how do we make their dream into a reality of whatever that may be? Here with Katherine Wintsch, it's 2:48. The program is On the Mic with Mike. Hands down the best business program in the land, because we're not just here talking about stock markets and stuff like that. We're talking about business, how it affects people's lives, how business can make society a better place. We'll talk to you on the other side.
Hi, Chef Michelle here of Ma Michelle's Cafe, home of the Soul Rolls, located at 10811 Whole Street Road. Give us a call at 804-912-1644 or order online at mamichelle's.com. Ask about our off-site catering options as well as our online ordering through Grubhub, Uber Eats, and DoorDash. Follow us on all social media at Ma Michelle's Cafe. That's Ma Michelle's, Soul south of the James. Mention Mike on the mic and get a free dessert on us. Special rules apply.
Mike King here, host of On the Mic with Mike.
And I'm Paula, the host of Modern Love.
You can find us together 1:30 on Fridays as we
talk about all things love. We talk about how modern matchmaking works. We talk about getting into a healthy, real relationship.
Stop swiping left and right and learn how to find love in all the right places. Paula Pardell, Modern Love Friday, exclusively On the Mic with Mike, and only heard here on WJFN 92.7 and 100.5 FM.
Hi, I'm Tom Childry, the credit card guy with Beyond. I believe it should not be confusing or expensive for your business to accept credit cards. As a social enterprise business advocate, my mission gets you paid faster with fair rates, helping your business grow. We can be contacted at area code 804-503-8472, 804-503-8472, or at getbeyond.com. Again, I'm Tom Childry, the credit card guy. Quick, easy collect. We make it easier than you expect.
Mike King isn't a businessman. He's a businessman with his own talk show. On the Mic with Mike, the best business radio program in the game.
RVA's leading social enterprise show. On the Mic with Mike on WJFN Radio. Daily at 1 p.m. Mike King Biz, delivering food for thought. To find out more about the dynamic host of On the Mic with Mike, please visit his website at MikeKingBiz.com.
On the Mic with Mike, weekdays 1 p.m., part of the Midday Buffet on the all-new WJFN 92.7 and 100.5 FM.
Welcome back to On the Mic with Mike, the premier social enterprise business show in the Richmond area. I'm your host, Mike King. I appreciate you being here with me. I got Katherine Wintsch rolling shotgun today, talking about all things Slay Like a Mother. Okay, that's a cool name. Okay, it's a title. How long did it take you to come up with that one?
A really long time. It was probably over the course of a year and a half.
Okay. So you didn't all of a sudden one moment like, man, that's it.
No, it was very hard. And we went through, probably 200 ideas, and just none of them stuck until that one. And when we said that one, it was just like I knew that was it.
Is that an attention getter?
Yeah, and it's. I wanted it to be bold, and I wanted it to be a little bit aggressive, because that's what it takes to slay a dragon of self-doubt. You have to have the courage, you have to be bold and take some steps that are uncomfortable. And I didn't want it to be soft, and there is some heartache in a lot of people's stories, even in my own, but I didn't want it to be soft. Yeah.
Talk a little bit about the Richmond community from a business, personal standpoint. What's the temperature and the mood of Richmond now? Are you from Richmond?
Born and raised.
Okay. Talk a little bit. I've been here since 2014. It looks a lot different than 2014. Talk a little bit about Richmond from a business standpoint and the women's movement, I guess you could say, because there are a number of different women's groups that are out there smoking. There's a number of them.
Yeah. I think Richmond is doing well in general. I think the restaurants are better. Everybody's younger, and Scott's Addition. You just see more outdoor life and young 30s life, which I think brings a lot of energy and culture, so I think that's better. And businesses are good. I think Richmond's a great size, that we're not dominated by a lot of corporations, but there's still some strong pillars and players here. I've always, for my company, the Mom Complex, I'm a consultant, have always wanted to do more work in Richmond. We end up doing a lot of business out of town, which is easy now because of Zoom, but It used to be pretty hard on, travel-wise. So, but I'm biased. I love Richmond, but I think there's a lot of racial reckoning that needs to happen, and healing, and all the stuff around Marcus David Peters, and just some closure and changes with the legislature there, but hopefully some good things to come.
The Richmond of 2020, before COVID, forget 2020, 2019, Richmond's the place to come. Tourism's booming, restaurant scenes, rooftop bars. If somebody had told you that in 1990, what would you have said?
I wouldn't have believed it. I always thought, it was kind of not a sleepy town, but just kind of slower. And my husband is from Geneva, Switzerland, and the thought of him in the 90s moving to Richmond, he was kind of like, I don't know.
He's kind of, when I see him, he kind of has like the Renaissance man kind of look.
He is very handsome.
Well, he is a handsome man. So you've gone down that road. How long have you been married?
18 years.
Okay.
Yeah, and dated for 5, so
23 years in the game.
Mm-hmm.
So he has his finger on the pulse. Shout out to Startup Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
So he has his pulse on what's happening from the business standpoint. And we've had on Jack Barry's been on, Brian Bostic's been on, and they talked about Richmond becoming cool and hip, and it drew young people.
Yeah, I definitely think that's happening, and Startup Virginia is a great example of an incubator and a support system for people who want to start businesses and have started businesses and want to scale them. And there's a couple other incubators, in town that are putting, Lighthouse Labs, putting money behind
ideas,
helping people come up with ideas, support those ideas. And, if you're part of Startup Virginia, you get access to lawyers and accountants.
That's a cool
and
building,
marketing
too.
people. It's really cool.
I mean, that is a cool building.
Yeah, it's inspiring. I think that's important. I mean, I'm an entrepreneur, and the space that I am really in matters to me. I want it to be beautiful.
So when a lot of women, what's the mood of women business owners? What are they saying about COVID, the timetable of how we're going to make it out of? What's the conversation among women business owners?
Yeah, I think it depends on the business, I think a lot of people in a similar space as I am in consulting have done well through COVID, and we've been able to pivot and offer digital tools and in place of in-person, research and innovation sessions and all that. But, a lot of small business owners and yoga studios and people that support the health and wellness industry and gyms, their restaurants, those are really tough businesses for women to survive. And I know a woman who, owns a yoga studio, and she said, I have 2 people show up a day.
I know.
Yeah.
That's times 257. Katherine Wintsch is here with us. How did you get onto the black and white photos? Let's talk a little bit about that in a minute or so.
Yeah, I mean, we with Slay Like a Mother, we wanted it to be stark, we wanted it to be strong, and we wanted it to be a uniter, and I've studied the lives of women in over 17 countries around the world, and we all have this self-doubt, and that's, we wanted to, make sure with the photography that, that it wasn't about individual characteristics as much as it was this through line that ties us together, that if we can conquer and heal and learn to love ourselves, we live different lives. It's much better.
How can people find you?
You can follow on Instagram, Slay Like a Mother, or Facebook at Slay Like a Mother, and we share lots of tips and tricks.
Quickly, I always ask people, what gives you hope?
Young people helping to save this election tonight gives me hope.
I sure hope you're right. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to thank Katherine for coming in. It's Tuesday, Election Day. On the Mic with Mike, we are here with you tomorrow. We don't know what it's going to look like tomorrow, but hopefully this experiment called America holds together. I think it will. I'd like to thank the folks who came on, Skylar and Matthew, with differing opinions, but you know what? That's what makes America great. We'd also like to thank the Blanco boys, Vinny and Jordan White, for coming in. On the Mic with Mike, I'm on the way home, baby, as soon as this is over. When I'll be there. Take care of each other, folks. We'll talk to you tomorrow. The time is 2:59. Who else we got to talk about? Oh, Charles Kitchen. Ladies and gentlemen, you need to do yourself a favor and get out to Charles Kitchen out in the West End. The food is outstanding. Chef Charles is always doing big things. So Chef Charles is out on the West End, and they are at 9127 West Broad Street, Charles Kitchen. Vegan, vegetarian, island dishes. Trust me, you will enjoy yourself. I'd like to thank Tom Childry, the credit card guy. Tomorrow, SBA Wednesday. Carl Knobloch is here with us tomorrow, talking all things SBA. And we also have Jay Carpenter will be in the house talking about Hanley Watches. It's a new partnership that he and I are doing together. So, big news for On the Mic with Mike. Just happy to be here talking to you about all things business and life. We'll talk to you on the other side. Thanks now. Take care. Thank you, Kiara.
Goochland, WJFN Chester.
Election Day 2020, Americans are choosing between President Trump and Democrat Joe Biden. This woman in Charlotte, North Carolina says she hasn't missed an